Hi everybody, welcome back. I'm the Strategy Professor, and today we're going to be starting a brand new campaign with the Lizardmen, and we're going to be playing as Gor-Rok on the Eye of the Vortex.
I fight for the greater good.
Special thanks to Frankenberry for sponsoring this. Really appreciate it if you like to sponsor a campaign yourself. Right now it's just $30 for 10 episodes. If we don't have another one waiting, then we could do a little bit more. No one else is in line, but it's about $3 an hour, about an hour episode. Pretty good deal for some quality Total War content. And Frankenberry said that he is newer to the game, so he wanted me to make sure that I was explaining a little bit about just the Lord, the Lizardmen, sort of their strengths and weaknesses, and some combat styles of the Lizardmen. So I'm going to be going in depth on a bit of that. But it is going to be, you know, like a standard campaign as well. And we're doing it on Legendary, very hard, vanilla with no mods. I do have a few campaigns that people have talked about recently they might want to sponsor that's going to have some mods on it. So one of them was going to be potentially Radius with Norska faction on Warhammer 2, maybe Vortex or whatever, using the Mixu's Extra Lords mod. So that looks pretty fun. I've never done anything like that, so that'll be interesting. And we're still going to be finishing up the Skarsnik and Belagar campaigns that we're doing on the channel, so be sure to check that out. We're constantly adding more, so be sure to check it out, The Strategy Professor on YouTube, if you want more content. Okay, so it's your faction effects. This applies to every lord in your faction at all times. You get the Rite of Resilience, which we'll talk about that when we get in there. You start off with Lord Croak, who's one of the most powerful heroes in the game. You get +3 recruit ranks for Saurus-scarred veterans, who aren't that great, but they're okay. We might get a few of them. And then the 20% upkeep for Saurus is huge, because that's your backbone unit. And anything that reduces upkeep is going to be massive, because that's your biggest cost in most campaigns. Lord Effects, this is for him specifically. He gets melee defense +5 when you're in your friendly territories. That can be you or allies. And physical resist +20% when you're defending sieges. And then he starts off with just a few really basic units because he gets Lord Croak. So some of the other lords will end up with some bigger units, like he has Saurus. You know, he has an Ancient Salamander. He's got Stegodon. And then he has Temple Guard and Bastellodon. So you kind of have the lowest kind of tier starting units, but that's because you have Lord Croak, who's really strong. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and get in here. So, we'll just go ahead and skip the cinematics. We're going to be talking a lot. You can watch those online if you want to. But the Lizardmen in general have a very strong early game. Saurus are some of the best infantry in the game. Typically, they are very expensive. But you do get the 20% discount on them. But they have really heavy weapon damage, which we'll see. Pretty respectable armor for infantry. And their melee attack and defense is okay. And they have a lot of HP. And they have some decent upgrades you can get early. Nothing really crazy. Like, there are a couple of other factions that can really beef up their early game units quite a lot. Really quickly. Like the dwarfs with their quarrelers. Or, who is it? The, Lothern Sea Guard are kind of notorious for that. They got like 50 different upgrades early on, but they're pretty strong as is early on in the campaign. Now, I do think that he probably has the best starting position, so he has kind of the easiest start, and it says that it's reflected as easy. And the reason for that is Itza is an extremely powerful capital. It might be the best capital. I don't remember the perks of Mazda Mundis, but it's pretty strong too. But Itza can eventually build up to 2 really powerful high-tier units. So one of them here is basically +20 leadership when you're fighting against Skaven, Beastmen, and Chaos and Norska. So pretty much all the bad guy factions, other than Undead. And you get 10 leadership in general. So that'll give you basically 30 leadership when you're fighting the Chaos hordes that come at you as you go through the Vortex campaign. So that's very strong. Every character also gets Untainted, which helps keep Chaos Corruption and Skaven Corruption away, so that's pretty good. So yeah, that's a nice end-game thing. And then this one gives you +10 growth in all factions, which is okay. By the time you get to Tier 4, your growth's probably pretty strong to begin with. But the 100 medicinal plants, if you have trade agreements with people, that can be pretty close to like 2,000 gold, 1,500 to 2,000 gold a turn. So that's really, really strong potentially. And like most capital cities, it ends up with this sort of specialty here where you get extra income in your own province, and you get additional income in all surrounding provinces, and you get a special spell in this province, and you have a really strong garrison, like a super upgraded garrison. So it's just one of the best Lizardmen cities out there, and it is a 10 stack city, which means that you get multiple buildings, and it's a four town province, so you can really crank up the growth and really just get a lot of powerful stuff. And there are other landmark buildings that are very close by too. Like there's one here, and there are a couple that are sort of, there's one here, and I think over here. They're just everywhere. In the jungle, you have lots of little specialty buildings. That's pretty fun. Okay, and so we're just going to go for the gold mine early on. It's 300 gold a turn, pays for itself pretty quickly. You do get some golden chests if you can trade as well, and then you get 20% off the recruitment cost for Kroxigors and Temple Guard, which we're not going to get a ton of those in the early game, but they're okay. Then we just pretty much want to upgrade to Sacred Spawning Caverns so we can get the techs, which we'll talk about here in a second, Tabular Thesaurus. And this gives your guys some shields, which are pretty nice. The Skaven do like to spam the slaves with slingers, or the Skaven slingers, or whatever they are, the slingshot units, and then they also have the other little units. They have like these skirmishing slinger type of units that are really annoying for Lizardmen to deal with until you get really fast units. And we're probably not going to be getting Cold One Riders to run them down. Maybe we'll have to get one eventually, but the Lizardmen are kind of slow for the first couple of tiers, and your archers aren't that great. You can get Skink Skirmishers, which are okay, but not amazing. So yeah, those can be annoying to deal with, so the shields are pretty helpful in that regard. But we want to level this up, and then when we get to tier 3, one of the main things we want to get, now we might actually end up getting this early at tier 2. It would be nice, like having the Skink Skirmishers would be pretty good against the Slingers. I think they beat them out overall. They do have similar weapon strength. We have a little bit of armor and a little bit more health than they do. And they're pretty expendable. They're only 100 gold each. But the big one is the Skink Chief. Is really powerful. He's very cheap. It's only 96 gold, and he offers replenished troops and damage walls. Now this is really big. Damage walls and assassination. So when you damage the walls, that means that you don't have to build siege equipment. It saves you turns on the siege, and it creates a nice surface area for your units just to go right in there and attack. And that's what we want with our big beasts, because the beasts can't climb out walls, and they can get clumped up if you have battering rams or whatever on siege, and you just taken down the main gate. They can still get clumped up and just sort of poked down by halberds and other spear units. So being able to damage those walls is really important so that you can get that nice surface area in there and just kind of overwhelm them. Because you don't have any artillery that can break the walls, at least not in the early game. I think that, I can't remember if the Stegodon can do it or not. I don't think he can. So you don't really have artillery that can knock out towers and break walls as the Lizardmen, unless I'm forgetting something. Can this guy, I don't remember if he can attack walls or not. Some are siege attackers but can't attack walls. But either way, for a long time, it's really annoying to deal with that, so getting those Skink Chiefs is pretty nice. Other things you want to get, you do want to get growth buildings in most places if you can early on, just because we do want to get up to these tier 4 units. You want to get walls in your secondary towns, especially when you're playing against stuff like Skavens. They tend to like to backdoor you a lot. They make a ton of armies and really try to go wide. So getting walls is nice. Having the growth to do that is good. And it allows you to get some more public order buildings. Now, if you're playing on easier difficulty modes, public order is probably not as big of a deal, but on legendary, it's a huge deal because you get a -8 modifier at all times, and you get 4 for taxes. So you have to invest in public order buildings. And then it just allows you to get some more gold buildings as well. This is worth, definitely up to tier 2, it's worth it. At tier 3, it's kind of a luxury. You're getting 120 extra gold for 2,500, so it's going to take about 20 turns for that to be worth. But if it's a secured province, it can be worth overall. Now, what we're going to be building to military-wise, like I said, we'll probably grab the Skink Chiefs. We might grab a couple of Skinks in here. But we ultimately want to get up to these Stegodons. This is one of the major turning points at tier 3. They have this really powerful spike, especially because we're getting 20% off of the Stegodons. So they're already going to be relatively cheap, and the Saurus rather, and then the Stegodons, we can spend our extra money on them, and they're just completely destroy like a lot of like low-level infantry. They'll just mow down Skaven, and a lot of other things that we're going to face early on. The enemy really has to have some heavily armored halberds to deal with them. And these big monsters are great with the magic as well, because you can just throw those monsters in there, and then you can use Lord Croak just to blast everybody, or you can get a Skink Chief with Heavens and just throw down their Chain Lightning ability. And the AoE spells don't do a lot to single entity big monster units, so it's not going to hurt your Stegodon very much to have a Chain Lightning on him, but once again, that'll just melt through a lot of their infantry, and that's very good on sieges as well. So, that's really strong. Beast Magic is okay, but I think that Chain Lightning is really where you want to be most of the time. And being able to throw something like Harmonic Convergence on your Bastiladon or your Lord is going to make them even more aggressive. And even this Wind Blast spell is pretty good for sort of lighting people up as well. And then later on in the game, you can reduce armor and melee attack if you just want to, just have a long fight with people. That can be pretty good. So it's okay. Versus Beast Magic, I mean, it's okay. Like, Flock of Doom is pretty good. It is very cheap. I think it does a lot less damage in the base game than it does in SFO. So it's pretty good. And then the Transformation of Kadon does give you Manticores. So that's pretty nice. So it's okay. But really, Flock of Doom is the main attraction there. If you're going Beast Magic. And we already have Lord Croak, which is like an even better Flock of Doom. It's just this, AoE blast. It doesn't hurt your own troops. That's the nice thing about Flock, is it doesn't hurt your own people. Just basically point click, does a lot of damage. But Lord Croak already does that, so we don't really need that. Versus Heavens could potentially do even more damage than Lord Croak can do, and it sort of lasts for a longer amount of time. So if we do get a Priest, which we'll probably get one eventually, I think that Heavens is probably better. If you don't have Lord Croak, if you're playing a different faction leader, then maybe Beast Magic. But anyways, we just want to level up, get these big beasts, upgrade Stegodons. The Bastiladons with the Revivification Crystal are very good too. They heal people up quite a bit. Ark of Sotek's okay, but it requires a secondary building, so it's not that crazy. And then you have really good late game beasts, which we'll talk about more when we get there. But that's kind of what you want to do with Gor-Rok, is just get you some Saurus and then just lace up the Stegodons and eventually get the Bastiladons or Revivification Crystals and just plow through them. Okay. Go ahead and start upgrading these two. Throw Croak in here. Okay, I'm on. Did I click on it? Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're going to go for Replenish Troop. I'm pretty sure it gives them both. No, you have to pick, I guess, Replenish, but you want Replenish over the training one, I believe. And then we'll go ahead and just get this fight in here. He's going to run. Alright. Okay, and let's go ahead and fight it. You could auto-resolve it. We're not going to lose that much, but we'll just go ahead and talk about some of the combat stuff when we get in here. So our overall strategy is just obviously kill any of the Skaven that are hostile to you. And then we'll just kind of feel it out with the other Lizardmen. You can kill them if you need to. It is nice to have a couple of trade partners. But in general, you kind of just want to take over this whole southern jungle if you can. It's been a while since I've done a Vortex campaign, but I believe if you control 3 or 4 different nodes, then you'll end up winning the race. And eventually, we might want to send a Skink out to go scout out... I don't remember his name, but the guy on the other continent on the right side. We'll see if we can scout him out and confederate with him eventually. Biggest confederation target is Mazdamundi. He's very strong. He brings a lot of buffs to your faction, but anyone that's a legendary lord, we'll try to pick him up. Okay, just get this super high ground here. I know the high ground is kind of a meme, but it does affect the physics. And I like to number my units, just do control 2, and then I can flip back and forth between 2 and 3. I think especially when you have your wizard and your lord, just being able to flip back and forth and use their abilities without having to like find them on the battlefield and click on them all the time. It's pretty nice. Another trick that you can do is it starts off with toggle guard mode. You can take that off if you want. That'll make your units like chase after when people are hurt. You got to be careful because you want to make sure your units aren't running like too far to chase, but I like to have a little bit of chase just so they'll kill people when they start running away a little bit. What else? And then one trick you can do too is you can lock the formation. Then when you lock the formation like this, if you right click on them, then your entire army, like the people that are locked, will charge forward in a straight line. Instead of everyone trying to run it, you know, that exact figure, they'll just run in a line and charge anything that's in front of them. So that's really nice to help your units spread out a little bit. And then with these guys, they come with skirmish mode, which means if anyone gets close, then they're going to run backwards. So in some instances, you may not want them to skirmish, so you can turn that off. If you're going to be in close combat, like a bunch of stuff's going to be charging you, and you just want them to keep firing without getting scared, you can do that. Especially because these guys can't fire while they're running away. So some units that can fire while they're running away, you may want to do that, but it's just kind of up to you. But sometimes, like, you know, if they summon Skaven slaves on us, or if another faction has flying units or something, it can make them all just, like, run around and really trip them out if you have a bunch of missile units. So, we'll leave it on for now. Okay. Alright, so we're just gonna come over here. Now, with Gor-Rok, you have the option of 3 of these different things, and they're increasingly more expensive, but they get stronger the more you go. And I would just, with this entry-level Skaven, I would just stick with the cheapest one. It has less of a radius on it, as you can see, like there, versus the really expensive one. It's a much bigger radius, and that one does more damage, but it's also, like, a lot more expensive. So unless you're against, like, some really heavy-duty units, I wouldn't use the big one. I'm not sure the exact numbers on the damage, but it's very, very expensive. So I would just save it and just do the smaller ones if it's against entry-level units. Against, like, Chosen or, like, really high-level Chaos, you may want to consider, you know, doing the big one, but so I'm just going to speed this up a little bit. Just have him charge in there. He's got a shield. He's got a lot of resistances. Just get everyone grouped up. Yeah, just got him pretty weak there. You don't usually want to put, like, your infantry around their lord. Just let your lord 1v1 them. It's fine. Get these guys behind. Just fire into their back here. Just wait for them to commit. Now, this does not hurt your own units either. Lower some damage on them. Charge them in the back. Okay, they're running. Charge them over there. Good. Light them up. I don't even know if he can miscast either. Alright, fight's almost over, so we'll just go ahead and do a bigger one here. We're just gonna get skirmished, so I'll just go ahead and bring him in here. So yeah, usually you don't want to come in there like that with your units, but whatever. I mean, if we kill their lord, they should run. Now, if they all run, they're gonna die, because after they retreat once, then they can't retreat again or they die. And that's the same thing with you. If you lose one fight, or if you choose to retreat, and then they follow you and kill you, then you're dead. Okay, good. So that is one way to deal with these skirmishers. Like I said, we don't have a lot of fast-moving cavalry and stuff to run them down early on, so the slingers. So if you just kill their lord, their leadership will usually falter. So yeah, as you can see, Gor-Rok is pretty good. These guys actually they killed 119 of the little Skaven slaves, so it's not bad. You can auto resolve that, and you'll get similar results. So that was a little bit better. I did a little test run of like 4 or 5 episodes, or like 4 or 5 turns, just to kind of see what the opening's like. I like to do it with a lot of campaigns. If it's a harder campaign, it may actually take me a while to get enough footage, because I might lose it a couple of times trying out different stuff, or like not end up with an optimal result while I'm kind of learning the campaign. Skarsnik's kind of like that for a while. Some of the harder factions, Norska, Chaos, it'll take a little while to get used to. Okay, we're just gonna probably just replenish here. We just want to make sure we're topped off and ready to go. Okay. Now, I want to see. I think we can hit this on this turn. Yes. So come on over here and attack just to make sure we get it. Okay. And I know we haven't put the skills up yet, but it's not going to influence this fight. Like, the auto-resolve doesn't really care about your skills that much. I mean, I guess just for the record, we can go ahead and encircle. Because you can choose to encircle and then fight on the same turn. So, like, sometimes if you're worried that if your hero goes into your army, it does take some of their movement speed. So if you have a hero that's outside of the army, like just kind of hanging out, and you can siege first and then move the hero into the army after that, and so you won't take away any of your extra movement. That's kind of a nice little trick you can do there. Okay, so where we want to be going skill-wise is getting Proud Warrior is one of the obvious early ones, because we're going to have a lot of Saurus, but also getting like Root Marcher into Bonded Service or Ancient Cunning to get extra ambush is really good, especially once the chaos starts rolling in. They start wanting to assault your capital while you're channeling your win condition. That can be good. And then eventually the blue tree to get 15% upkeep on Geomantic Sustenance plus minus 8% for all units. That's an additional 23%, and that stacks additively with the 20% you already have off. So it's going to be 43% off Saurus. And then once you get this Blessing of Itzel, which is what I would recommend on pretty much every ward every time, because it gives you 20% off of all your big beasts. So I think that's really good. And then eventually you just want to get, these whenever they're available and appropriate and strong. Like this one's really good. That one's pretty good for the public order. But yeah, in general, you just want to go like Proud Warrior early on if you can, then probably go through the blue tree. And then once we get up to the Stegodons and stuff later on, you can go for this for the extra melee defense. Sacred Guardians is pretty good if you want to go for the Kroxigors. Crocs are pretty nice. They do help you smash infantry pretty well. So the problem with the Crocs with vanilla is that you need a secondary building for either one of them. Now, if you're the Kroxigor guy, the ancient, the Horde Lizardman guy, it's different. And you do want to get as many Kroxigors as you can early on. But it's just like a normal Lizardman Lord. It requires this little thing for Kroxigors, determining the Great Plan, which is a pretty crap building, honestly. The Horned ones they're okay, but they're not that great. Temple Guard are okay, but they're very situational. Kroxigors are good, but it's like, do you really want to be paying 6,000 gold for this building just to get that? I mean, it is required to get your upgraded techs, so it's okay, but it doesn't feel great to buy that building. And then the Sacred Kroxigor requires this building, which is okay. I mean, the Ancient Stegodon's good. You do want to get the Dread Saurion eventually. And the Salamander Hunting Pack. Now, these are, I did say we didn't have that many missile troops, but the Hunting Packs are actually very good. They do nice splash damage. They will definitely light up a lot of the little trash units out there. So, anyways. Alright. Yeah, we probably just want to go Inspiring Presence and then just try to get Proud Warrior first. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I can't tell. Seems like y'all might be able to hear that in the back. Okay, I'll shut my door during the intern here. Sorry about that. My wife's watching something in the other room, I suppose. Okay, I think is it worth extra points to get the mana cost down? Where's this? This lowers it by 50%. Oh, 25%. I think we'll go with this, lowering the cost. I don't think it lowers the cooldown. It's always 15 seconds. But lowering the cost by 1 or 2 is pretty good on a spell that's already pretty cheap. That we're going to be spamming a lot. Okay. And we're just going to auto this. Yeah, because we're just going to replenish whatever damage dealt to us. So we get some money, just occupy. You occupy it, you get a free building. Usually if you occupy it, drops it down 1 tech level, up to 1 tech level, but you get buildings. I think if it's your same faction, you might get it, like if I kill another Lizardmen faction, I think you might get it at the same tech level. And either way, you're going to go Proud Warrior. We just want to get that leveled up, then probably go through the blue tree. And then over here, I'm just going to upgrade that again. And he comes with a lot of stuff too. You get 5% ward save, plus 18% weapon strength against different things. His combat stats are terrible though. He's 26-17. He does have a lot of HP, but it's not great. And then magic resistance for all units in his army, which is nice. Power reserve, magic resist, -9 melee attack for all enemies within 55 meters. So that's obviously super strong. So you want to stay kind of close to combat, even if you're not all the way in combat. And then your Lord causes terror when fighting against Chaos and Norska. Okay, and then here, the special building that we get is 20 plus 20 leadership when fighting against Skaven. That's only when they're in the local area. All armies get 5% ambush chance, which once again is going to be very good fighting against Chaos. 10% chance of intercepting underway world routes and beast paths. That's really good against Skaven. And then 20% post-battle loot faction-wide, which is really nice. Now, I like keeping this growth building here. It's very handy. And then not sure why it's not letting us get that. The growth, yeah, it's level 1. It's glitched or something, I'm not sure. Okay, but we will hire up some Saurus here. You really don't want the spears unless you're afraid they're going to have a lot of large units, because not only is the weapon strength lower and the melee attack, and the defense is up, but spears have a much, and it doesn't tell you this, but they have a much longer attack rate, so a much slower attack speed, in other words. I think they have over 5, so it takes them like 5 seconds to swing, versus most melee units are like 4 point something, 4.4. There's some really fast units that can get down into the 3s. But usually you just don't want spears and you don't want halberds unless it's specifically against anti-large. It's just a stat that they don't tell you there, but it's in vanilla. I think maybe it's modified in some of the mods out there, but you really, really need it to be against large units. Just because the attack speed's so slow. Okay. And these javelins only have 3 javelins, so they don't have a lot of ammo. But we get that discount on Saurus, so we're gonna take advantage of that. Okay, we got those buildings in place. Let's see. Obviously, anyone that's a legendary lord, I really want to try to be friends with. Now, we don't get anything for confederating with him, per se, because he doesn't own any properties, but we get him. And he will, he'll become just a normal lord. Like, we don't get his horde functions and that stuff, I don't believe. We get his horde. He just becomes a normal lord, which is kind of weird. I mean, we'll see. When I played a campaign with him and we confederated with another lord, we didn't get their I guess we did get their property, but we couldn't recruit stuff like them. It just turned into the special spirit buildings. And I'm not sure what I want to do with these other guys yet. So let's hold on to that. We might want to kill him. So Clan Fester. You can look at these bars and see if it's all the way yellow, that means you're stronger than them. If the red is past the 50% mark, that means they think they're stronger than you. So like the Spirit of the Jungle, for example, is about as strong as us. And you can see your overall strength rating too. And this is just based on your armies. So you'll see this debuff once you start owning more property. It'll start calling you a great power. That's not necessarily your armies. That's based on the properties that you own. And you'll start getting a debuff diplomatically with a lot of people when you're considered a great power. Then over here kind of tells you your diplomacy and like the modifiers for it. So aversion means it's just a coin. It's just aversion is like a dice roll thing. Sometimes certain factions are averse to you. Sometimes they aren't. in general. Occasionally there is a faction that's like always averse to you, but usually it just means you got kind of a bad die roll. If you're really, you know, nitpicky about it, you can just keep starting the campaign over and over again. If you're like, I really want to confederate with them, usually you can get around it with the aversion anyways. You can just do some more stuff. And then in diplomacy options, you come in, you know, these packs, like non-aggression means you won't declare war on each other. Military access means that you're allowed to walk through their space without them declaring war on you. Trade agreements mean that you can trade resources back and forth. We'll talk about that more later. Defensive alliance means if someone declares war on you or if someone declares war on them, then you have to respond or you break the alliance. And if you break the alliance, it's really bad diplomatically for you. And then military alliance is if someone attacks you or your ally, or if you or your ally attack somebody else, then the other person is obligated to follow you into battle. And once you get that one, you can, if you're at war with the same faction, you can do this thing down here called war coordination target, and you can tell them, you can direct them, hey, let's go attack this spot on the map. They don't have to listen to you, but if they don't have anything else going on, then they will go try to attack those places. So it's just a suggestion for them, hey, let's go fight these people. You can only do that if you're both at war with the same faction. Just because you're military allied, if you come in with wars on your hands, they don't necessarily have to join those wars, and vice versa. And then join confederation means that you get all their stuff. You get all their buildings, you get all their lords, you get everything. But all the garrisons are really weak when you get it, and it really makes all of the other people that are your same faction angry at you. Honey, can you turn that down a little bit? It's like super loud. I'm afraid it's going to be in the video. I said, can you turn that down a little bit? It's super loud. Well, I know, but I'm recording something. Okay. So I'm not sure. I guess I could turn the gain down a little bit. Okay, so hopefully you won't hear that on the other. I'm trying to look at the OBS over here to see if the mic's picking up stuff, but I guess we'll see. If it was a little bit in the background this one, then I will I'll turn down the gain a little bit in the next one. As people have said in the past that it was too quiet, so I was trying to crank up the gain a little bit. Okay, but yeah, so that's diplomacy for now. And I'm just explaining all this stuff in the first episode just because, once again, Frankenberry's, I believe, kind of a newer player, and he wanted me to explain some of that stuff. Okay. You also have this Geomantic web. We'll talk about that more, but basically you can build this like pylon building, and if you control all adjacent big towns, then whichever it goes to the lowest pylon. So if you control 3 different towns that are like all around each other and they all have a level 3 pylon, then they all get the level 3 benefit. If they have a level 4 pylon, they all get the level 4 benefit, and so on and so forth. So these are basically all capitals connected. So that means if I want to upgrade this, right now it's level 2. And that's the default is level 2 if you own the stuff. But if I want to, I believe it's level 2. Might even be level, yeah, strength level 2. It tells you there. If I want to upgrade this and go up to level 3, that means I have to have a level 3 pylon in this town, this town, this town, and this town, and this town. So all 4 links have to be level 3 for me to get level 3 here. So it's a really expensive endeavor. I mean, later in the game you can do it if you want to, but the perks aren't really that huge in the early games. I just mostly ignore it. But if you're like super rich later on in the game, you control a ton of property, you can beef it up like that and help out a little bit. And then the final thing, the rights here, and then we'll go to the next turn. This is a super powerful right. This is probably the best right in the game. If not the best, it's very, very close. You get an entire, I think it's a 20 stack army, and it's mostly like Carnosaurs, Stegodons, Bastillodons, and there's like a few other units sprinkled in there, but it's a ton of high level big beast units. You get that army permanently, like you can just transfer those units over to your main army if you want to, and you get Feral Cold Ones, which is an ability. It's almost like Menace from Below, where you just summon up some Feral Cold Ones and go try to attack some people. So very, very strong. It is expensive. It's 12,000 gold, and you can only do it once every 50 turns. But it is definitely worth it, because just hiring, like, Carnosaurs you can't even get until tier 5. And you can get like special Stegodons and Bastillodons and stuff like that too. So you get a lot of really nice stuff mixed in there. Now you have to pay the upkeep on those things, but if you were to pay the recruitment cost for all of them, it would be well north of 12,000 gold most of the time. So very, very strong. You don't have to keep all of them. You can delete some of them if you want. But I think it's worth it, even just to get the Feral Carnosaurs, if you're pretty wealthy. Can definitely be worth. And then this, extra experience per turn, post-battle loot, ward recruitment rank for 2,000 gold, it's okay. Slan Mage Priest is alright. That basically is a lord you can hire that has some pretty good magical powers. And then this is the one that's special for Gor-Rok, melee defense for Saurus and Temple Guard, unbreakable for Saurus, and expert charge defense. So just the melee defense alone is really nice, and the unbreakable is pretty good too. Now it only lasts for 5 turns, but it's only got a 15 turn cooldown, so it's pretty nice if you have a really tough battle coming up, you're fighting against Chaos or something like that. It can be pretty legit. Okay, so we're hiring these things. Still not giving us a tech for some reason. I don't really understand what's going on there, but maybe it's glitched. Because we do have the skink foraging, but whatever, we'll figure it out next turn. And let's go. Now, these two things here are not occupied. I tested that out before. So if you go over and you occupy something that's abandoned, it really hurts your units a lot. They take a ton of attrition. Okay, so we get a special mace if we can end up killing some people. Research attack. Okay, now it's going to give us attack. So I guess you have to control the building for 1 turn. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and get this. The ideal thing, and this is just kind of dictated by the buildings that you have. Different buildings correspond to different techs. But what you want to get is the skinks. Or, I'm sorry, the Saurus. Which basically you have to have the tier 2 Saurus building, so we're going to get that anyways. And that gives you some extra melee defense, weapon strength, and melee attack for Saurus, which is pretty legit. And then that gives you discount for Saurus once you get interpreting the meaning of the old ones. So that's pretty solid. This one's okay. It gives you like some recruitment ranks and stuff like that. So it's not insane, but it's all that we can do right now. The other one's pretty good is this Tabula of Monuments. Ends up giving you 10 gross early on. That's solid. And then -1 construction time on provincial capitals. So that is really good. And then extra growth there. So pretty decent stuff. And there's one other one. I think it's this Tablet of War, campaign movement range, and then the 20 looting and sacking is pretty handy, and then the 20% replenishment. So Tablet of War is pretty good, and I don't remember which, oh, Stone Marker. Okay, so that's in secondary buildings. We can get Stone Marker. But anyways, those are kind of the best ones. Beast is good later on, but it's kind of trash early on, I think. So yeah, the upkeep reduction is good. So yeah, the techs are not necessarily the greatest. They're a little dated, but they're okay. But they're not the main attraction, I don't think. Now the other guy, the Spirit of the Jungle guy, has a different one that's slightly better, I think. But now how strong are these Skaven now? Okay, so they got a lord there, but they don't have much of an army. Okay. So how many? Take us a couple of turns to get over there. I think we can just dash there and go for it. So the other 2 places, we want to try to get this province going as fast as possible. Get it connected. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and drop that off real quick. So if you take off tax province, it'll lower the taxes by 4. But you can only hire 2 units instead of 1, and you don't get any money. Or instead of 3, and you don't get any money. So you got to be really careful when you do that. With the SFO mod, if you use any mods out there... Really? Okay, there we go. With the SFO mod, it takes off. I think taxes account for like 8 of the 12. So it's much more beneficial with SFO mod to take off taxes. But nevertheless, we'll go ahead and take them off here. And I do like SFO mod. It is really good if you've never tried out a modded version. They add a lot of extra landmark building, some extra units, some rebalancing and stuff like that. And some people say Vanilla's harder, some people say SFO's harder. They are just a little bit different. Alright, we'll hold off on that. I would like to trade with them, but once again, I might just kill them too. Okay. Basically, I think that SFO is a lot harder in the early game, but easier later on. That makes sense because the garrisons are so much stronger. Like, it is a lot harder to siege stuff early on. But then in vanilla, or in SFO, it's harder to siege early on, but then you have that protection. Once you put up walls and stuff like that, the walls are actually really good. So they protect you later on. Versus in vanilla, you know, the garrisons are trash, so you can run over the enemy really easily early on, but then they can backdoor you later on a lot easier because your own defensive buildings aren't going to be as strong. And it seems like the enemy gets a lot more units and sort of swarms a lot more in vanilla than they do in SFO. But anyways, I have some SFO campaigns on the channel, Steel Faith Overhaul mod. Or I guess that's what it used to be called. Now it's SFO mod. But anyways, check it out if you're interested. I'll do some more with that mod at some point too. I mean, we could just probably auto-resolve this. We already did one Skaven fight. How much time? We have 40 minutes. We're going to run them over, and we're going to be able to replenish, so I'm just going to do that. That's probably fair. But we get extra replenishment from Croak, and we're going to be in a town, so... So we'll just, yeah, see the replenishment. We're healing up so much, it just doesn't even matter. We'll get to some more important battles here in a little bit. Okay, we got Rite of Ferocity. What is this one? Okay, it's this. Don't want to do that yet. Okay, wood. I think I want to get rid of that. Now, these are the stone markers, I believe. Wait, no, where's the stone marker? Scrying pool. You can only get the stone marker in secondary buildings. Here they are. Which tripped me out, because I was like, how do I get to that ability? The Tablet of War. It's because you have to get a stone marker in there. Local recruitment and 10% income and 5% income there. But yeah, I think I want to get rid of the wood building. Yeah, I mean, trade agreements are good. Like, some factions you do get flat money and you get a trade resource, but with this one you don't. So I want either the skink favelas or more growth from the growth building, but... Okay, now, do we want to be able to hire someone here? Swan. Okay, Vipers, Tlaxon, this. Then what's... I don't remember what's over here. Monument of its cavern. Okay. I think this is probably strong enough to take down most things. Extra leadership is good, but getting the 3 armor and the 6 melee attack, pretty strong too. Once again with him, okay, we have the Deliverance, Eldritch Energy. I'm pretty sure we want that. Yeah, 8 extra Winds of Magic. Then this SARS army is pretty strong. I think it's gonna be strong enough to beat the last guy, so we're gonna conserve a little bit of here. Okay, I guess we can wait. I'm gonna wait one more turn. That does go up to 22. Well, we're gonna have to go take out Quiddix and then probably run down here and deal with the rebellion. So it's gonna be 56. It's gonna take me 2 turns. So 1, 2. I think we wait one more turn to tax it. Stuff. Okay, so he has one of these buildings. So these are what we want. And this is special for the Vortex campaign. I don't remember where all these are because it's been so long since I've done a Vortex campaign. Usually people ask for Mortal Empires. But if you control these, you can get a building that gives you extra little plaques or whatever they're called. And you're trying to race the AI over to these plaques to be the first one to 5,000 ancient plaque details. So each normal building that you have does 1, but there are special towns that have this on it that I think can give you up to like 15. So you need to get as many of those towns under your control as fast as possible. Like I said earlier, I think you need about 3 or 4 of those to beat the AI. You need to control probably like 4 to be on the safe side. So we're probably gonna have to kill them and take that out relatively soon. Okay, but yeah, we'll I think we'll wait on the Saurus, even though it's a bit cheaper. We just want to save some money for some infrastructure. Okay, and you do get some plaques for They still don't have any armies, right? They got a little bit of an army. Okay. Just trying to see if it's safe to dash or not. I think it probably is. We do not have Root Marcher. You can get Root Marcher a little bit earlier if you want. Hopefully it doesn't bite me here. If I'm a little bit short of hitting that next turn, you may want to go Root Marcher, but I think I can hit this first before that comes up. Okay, so we're definitely taxing now. We're getting a lot more money. And then we want to go for our biggest bang for the buck. I think there's no point in getting the public order right now because there's going to be a rebellion. There's no way around that. So I'll wait till I kill the rebellion and then we'll think about the public order. But yeah, I think just it's either money or growth. Money is very important, but leveling all this stuff up is pretty important too because I do want to get to level 3 pretty fast. Now how much... Now upgrading this also takes us to 40% income from everything in this province. It's 4,000 gold to upgrade that, and that's an extra 6,000. That's 10,000 gold to get to Stegodons, but they're very good. This is 2,000 gold for an extra 150 per turn, so it pays for itself in like 13 turns or so. It's pretty good, but it's not like crazy, especially if we're not trading the golden chest yet for its cost. So I think that this pays for itself in like what, 4 turns? Yeah, it basically pays for itself in 4 turns and some change. So this is probably our best bang for buck. Just get that everywhere. Now this will... the SARs with the shield, they are nice, but I still have quite a few SARs, and I'm not going to hire any more yet. I do need it for the tech, but I think right now I just want the money. This is actually really important, though, because I do want to get this guy up and going, the chief, so that I can crack walls. Okay, so I definitely want that. And then I think we just want the favelas over here. Favelas, and then this one has that special tier 3, so I would like to get that up there kind of quickly. Yeah, the post-battle loot's huge. Ambush is nice, but the post-battle loot definitely pays for itself pretty quickly. Okay, so, and that'll allow us to get some favelas over there and a public order building, so let's go for that. Okay, got all that. That's done. This stuff. Loxalon kind of likes us, but some bad news for you. Y'all are sitting on some important stuff. Unless they want to... I don't want to risk... If they don't confederate, I'm not going to be able to get it, so I think we have to kill them. Who do they... They don't have any... Fighting Blue Vipers and Hunts Marshal. Hunts Marshal's up there, and he's pretty strong. But... See, we have that great power now because we own a little bit more property. How many... Spirit of the Jungle kind of likes us. I'll play nice with them. I mean, they don't own any property, but I think actually if they start killing stuff and putting up their little shrines, if they put a shrine on like one of these things, that could actually be kind of bad. So I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't have done that. But that also means I don't know. We'll just see. Whatever. Okay. You gotta be careful with this non-aggression, especially on Vortex, because you have to get those plaque areas, and if you befriend somebody who takes over some of those plaque areas, you're gonna have to kill them. Holy Ziggurat, yeah, blah blah blah. Okay, so there's gonna be a rebellion here soon. Oh, are y'all kidding? Okay, no, we got it. I think. All right. Why is this? No, we can't get it. I don't think we'd get it with the extra 10% though either. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here, and then we're gonna go Gives us extra wins of magic. So we could do that for extra wins, or we could do this, which gives us interception chances, ambush defense chance if they want to try to ambush us. I really don't care too much if they ambush us, though. I mean, we're just pretty much all melee, so it's not a huge deal. I'd rather have more magic. Okay, let's just go with that. I'm going to try to take that out next turn. This is going to rebel in a couple of turns. We do have the corruption to deal with, too, the Skaven corruption, which is annoying. That's going to be 7 turns to level that up. Do we just grab... Do we need to level up this place? It's a key question. It would allow us to get some more, like, throw a growth building in there. Does it... And it does give me 10 growth naturally anyways. Okay, yeah, sure. As long as we don't get shanked. I don't think we have that many more enemies right now. So, we don't have to worry about as much about getting backdoored. Alright. Oh yeah, we're almost at an hour. We might be able to get one more fight in here. Like I said, I'm gonna speed it up and try to go a bit faster in future episodes, but okay, ambush, sure. So let's see if I eat my words here. I was saying don't care about an ambush. If you are worried about the ambush, you can do that geomantic sequence or the astromancy stance, and it's gonna be a lot less likely they ambush you with that. You get some vanguard with that as well, and you get like 200% sight range, which is very nice for trying to scout out. And you can intercept them, so if you think they're going to try to use their little underway to run away from you or whatever, that helps you trap them. Okay, so ambush, when they ambush you, it just looks like this. You're just walking, you can't control anything. You can kind of pan the camera around, but that's it. And they just come running at you and get flanks on you. Okay, so they didn't even use the ambush. Really? Hopefully I didn't walk into their, like, in range of their town reinforcement. I don't think so. If I did, whatever. Oh, okay, never mind. They are coming at me, actually. Oh, what? Okay. I need to come kill all these dudes. I saw some reinforcements coming in from over there. Guess they're not here yet. Alright, so with melee, you gotta try to wrap around. You don't want your units sitting around like this, like not fighting, so you want to try to wrap if you can. They're trying to not get flanked there. Dang slingers. I'm just chasing him. Like, I'm never gonna catch him, but... So let's just... We're just gonna come over here. Really? How's this dude not dead yet? Okay, I guess... I said usually you don't want to surround him, but... I guess we will break that rule since there's nothing else really for us to fight right now. Yeah, just get in there and just make sure we get this around. It'd be nice if they just naturally wrapped around like that, but you kind of have to manually slide around to get them to do it. It's taking a while to kill this dude. These are actually pretty fast. They're decent at running stuff down. Alright, we're just gonna... He's gonna rally back. Most likely. These dudes. Okay. Yeah, they're fighting him. I mean, you know, like I said, I'm never gonna be able to run them down, but I'm just stopping them from firing on me. And these guys are probably going to get to run, so we want to try to kill as many as we can. We'll actually let him get away with virtually no health. That way, if they start the fight with him next time, and we just kill him immediately. That takes a long time. It's really hard to aim that. Yeah, it was way off. Hard to lead that. So we don't have anything to run them down. I mean, it would be nice to have a couple of gold ones in these situations, but... Yeah, I just don't think we're gonna get any of them. I mean, maybe these skinks are able to run some people down. Skaven are kind of fast when they're running. I don't think we can get feral Cold One Riders. With SFO, I think you can get those. Like, it's a very cheap and early tier 1 unit. But you can't get that in vanilla. Those things, it's just very nice to have the cavalry early on, but... Yeah, so the ambush didn't really matter that much. Alright, I'm gonna take the replenishment again, just because I might have to chase them. They spawned like that many units in like 1 or 2 turns. You know, they just get 20 sacks almost instantly. Okay. Okay. Resilience. Alright. Ooh. Oh, nice. So everybody gets extra magic. Oh, sweet. Okay. I don't remember seeing that follower before. This is going to be a rebellion next turn. Maybe I should have left it off for 1 more turn. Okay, if I... God, it's so difficult to turn that down for a turn, but... What's my garrison's pretty strong. Like, it's going to be difficult for a rebellion to take this. Especially because it has, ballista tower. So I think I'll probably get back there in time. It's going to be a 20 stack, but the question is, do I want to pay 2,000 gold and delay it by 1 turn just to make sure I can get back there on time, or not? Or do I just say, whatever, bring it? Probably whatever. I mean, let's see. So if it rebels next turn, so I take this, it rebels, then I dash, probably 1, 2, 3, hit it. I think we can get back there in time. But we'll see on the next episode. So now he is not inside the town, I don't believe. The other one's inside the town. So if I attack him, the reinforcements will come out.
Bad idea.
And so they might come out from the side, so then I might be able to kill them like as they're coming out because of the positioning. Because usually, like, if you attack somebody head on and they have reinforcements to the right, that means those reinforcements come in from the right side of the screen. So maybe we do that. But anyways, we'll oh, I didn't realize you can't attack in that stance, can you? Or can you? Oh, you can. Okay. That. They nerfed it a little bit, so you get minus campaign movement range. But for 15 extra wins of magic, that's pretty good. If you're about to get into a tough fight. Anyways, we'll figure it out next episode. So thank you very much. If we were really scared about this, you know, we could drop a little bit of money and get the extra melee defense. I mean, I guess if we attack the town, we can see what they have in there. And just see if we want to do that, the 10%. I mean, maybe it's worth. I mean, they are pretty injured, but so are we. We have a lot of magic, though. I doubt they'll have walls. I don't know. I mean, I guess the same could be said if I attack the town. These guys have to come in from the side. So maybe I attack the town first, just see what we're getting ourselves into, and then if it's spooky, we can do the right and get the extra melee defense, and that should help out. But anyways, we'll figure that out next episode, so thank you very much. Have a good day, Special thanks to Frank and Barry again for sponsoring this campaign. If you'd like to sponsor a campaign yourself, just email me at thestrategyprofessor@gmail.com or stop by the stream. I stream every night around 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, go till about 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, right now, I'm just streaming mostly League of Legends. There's a chance in the future that I could stream, and that's on YouTube. There's a chance in the future I could stream on Twitch, maybe on the weekend. Maybe like just on a Saturday or a Sunday, some Total War stuff, but we'll see. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll keep you posted on that. But anyways, that's going to be it. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time.